Hello everyone, JP here with another Kings of War battle report straight from Singapore. It's some borrowed Trident realms against Dwarfs. Watch on. Okay, so that was a bit of a lie. I didn't actually go to Singapore just to play Kings of War. I went there for a conference. But upon knowing that I had a conference in Singapore and knowing that people play Kings of War in Singapore, such as 𝓬𝓻𝓮𝓪𝓭 of Newbie Dice, I booked myself an extra day so that I could potentially, if anyone was available, play some Kings of War. And that happened to be on a Friday night. So I said, anyone available on a Friday? And Paige said, you know what? I'll take the whole day off. I'll show you around Singapore a bit. And we can play some games in the evening, afternoon. And so that's exactly what he did. And so I went firstly out to Gardens by the Bay. I don't know if you've ever seen anything like this. So this is a mountain that's encapsulated inside this big glass dome. It's huge. This mountain is fully artificial, but covered in all these rainforest, like mountaintop plants. It's nice and cool. So when you're really hot walking around Singapore, this is a great way to cool off and look at something absolutely amazing. You walk around it, you just look at all the plants, and I just took more pictures of plant life than I ever have in my life because things just kept stunning me because everything was immaculate. There was nothing that looked like it was dying or uncared for. It was all immaculate, and so that was really cool. Pardon the pun. And then I went to the flower dome next door, which is even it's all flowers, a bit warmer because I guess it's not trying to be like a mountaintop dome, but also really impressive. And then I met Paige at the foot of this crazy hotel. It's like literally like a surfboard up the top, which is, a bar and a restaurant looking out over the whole bay. And then there's this is just hotels. It's just all hotel. And then there's a giant hall that runs along it that you can see up and down. And it's like, it's an easy place to meet. You just say, hey, let's meet in this hotel. The only problem is which bloody part? But we found each other. But then he took me to Hammer House Games. So that's this awesome game store in Singapore, and this is really the home of Kings of War when it comes to Singapore. It's got Kings of War stock, so I definitely bought some because I was like, sure, it's a luxury for an Australian to be able to actually go into a store, see on the shelf Kings of War boxes and go, I will have that one, I'll have that one. So I bought as much of the Rift Forge Orc stuff that they had because that's, I think I saw a Rift Forger, I saw a Hambrox. So I think I got those and some dice, which will definitely be featured in the second game. So I did play 2 games. I played 1 game against 𝓬𝓻𝓮𝓪𝓭. So if you want to actually look at that, it's on his channel. I was thinking of doing it myself, like my own version, but the story's already been told, and it was done well from his point of view because he's talking about all the smart things he's doing, and you'll just hear me being like, wow, what do I do in this situation? So now you'll know that I was using a new version of a Trident Realms army, and so that was my first time taking it, and against such a fast army as Order of the Green Lady that 𝓬𝓻𝓮𝓪𝓭 has, it was very overwhelming. But 𝓬𝓻𝓮𝓪𝓭's Order of the Green Lady army does look fantastic, and he also has a video looking at that, because that's, all of his models are fully converted Mantic models that look really fantastic, bringing it all together as an Order of the Green Lady army. And you just wish that Mantic would make an Order of the Green Lady army, but Bretonnians, blah, blah, blah. It's all a bit too close, but it was a beautiful army, and I got really trounced by it. So it was. I guess I surprised them when I said, "Yeah, sure, let's do another game." And my next game was then against some Dwarfs, and so James, one of the friends of Paige and regular gamers here in Hammer House, brought out his Dwarfs. But so let's take a look at the army I brought. So this is in the wake of the Masters. This is pre-Clash, so it was a little while ago, end of August actually, so I'm probably challenging Steve Hildrew for how far back can I remember a battle. It's definitely testing my memory, but this was after the US Masters where obviously Trident Realms famously won, thanks to Luke Frazier, with his Trident Realms, and so everyone's trying to think of what they can do, and what I'm thinking is I just want to take some Greater Water Elementals because they're kind of cool. So here's my iteration, and also Knights and Snarers. Not much of this army would actually change because of Clash of Kings as well, because it's really just a couple of points reductions and that's it. So, we have 1 horde of Knights and Snarers, 2 regiments of Placoderms, 1 horde of Giggos. And one of the Placoderms has Staying Stone because 5 points, it's a perfect little thing. 2 Greater Water Elementals. Suboptimal, probably, but quite tanky. Dash 18, defense 5, regen 4+. You don't kill it, it'll stick around. So that's kind of what I'm trying to get used to using, is getting that greater water elemental. And it's on that square base, so it could get flanks, but remember in flanks, it's still only as powerful as trolls in the front, because 18 attacks on 4s, crushing 2. Whoopee. I guess the Strider helps. Anyway, then I have a Knucker, 1 Coral Giant. This one's, I always take it with the Slayer option, so I don't even write it, but yeah, a Coral Giant, the greatest giant. Knucker because I need some speed. And then 1 Thule Aquamage, which has the Rising Tide's Aura, Icy Breath because I still had to purchase, that spell came with it, so that would change, and Bark Skin. And obviously, we all know the Rising Tide's Aura is fantastic because it just makes all the slow things slightly faster, makes the fast things even faster. So it puts us on a nice competitive edge. And then 2 Depth Horror Eternals for some inspiring and just being good little punchy dudes. And of course, the obligatory Hidden Ones formation because it really is just that good. When Thule are good already, and then you give them Pathfinder and Thunderous Charge and a hero that you actually like the 𝓤𝓻𝓮, it all kind of just works together, and you're like, yeah, I suppose you have to have a really good excuse not to take it, and I don't have good excuses here. So yeah, I've got 2 Thule regiments in that formation and 1 Thule 𝓤𝓻𝓮, who is upgraded with the Host Shadow Beast 2, and so were I to be playing this in Clash 24, I would probably have more points to play with, so that Host Shadow Beast would be somewhat powered up either with the Knowledgeable, as well as maybe also increasing the Host Shadow Beast to 3, and so that would be generally the changes that I would have. So yeah, not that much difference, but I might just have a slightly punchier Thule 𝓤𝓻𝓮. So that's 14 units, 25 unit strength. It's a reasonably competitive army, and so it was going against Dwarves, and I was a little bit tender after my loss to some Dwarves recently in the Convict tournament, because that really hurt, but that was defense 6 Dwarves, and this was only defense 5.8. So James's Dwarf didn't have the Iron Guard, it had Ironclad, and lots of them. We have 1 regiment of Ironclad, 3 hordes of Ironclad, 3 massive hunting pack regiments, which I assume are the chaff for the Ironclad, and then 3 Steel Behemoths, 1 which is upgraded to Golux Fury because you really always want a Golux Fury, and then the other Steel Behemoths are still very good. So that already is, in those 3 things, lots of shooting. Then we have a Stone Priest, which is kitted out to the wazoo, because that is how Stone Priests seem to be always taken. It must be some compulsion where you take one and you're just like, oh, spells. But fair enough. I mean, they are very good, especially when they have the Radiance of Life, Conjurer's Staff to improve their spells, and then Banechant 2, Scorched Earth 2. So it all just helps the army either hit harder or not get hit so hard. And finally, 3 Dwarf Lord and Large Beast. 1 which has the Blade of Slashing, so they're always a solid choice. So you can see why it's defense 5.8, because there's a lot of defense 6 stuff, but a lot of the unit strength is with defense 5 stuff, so at least it's not so undefeatable as I felt when I went against Rex's defense 6 stuff. So James is being a little bit nicer to me, but still, it's 14 units, 24 unit strength, so it's not an inconsiderable amount of stuff to deal with. So that's the 2 armies, and here they are set up. So let's go through the battlefield first. Come on, yep. So this is Dominate, so that's right around here is the Dominate circle, and this also brings back some PTSD because it was the previous game against Dwarves that I had where I did lose because it was Dominate, and the defense 6 stuff just kind of went in there and sat. So now I know I need to get up really fast and try and hold them back and start tearing them apart. What I also knew was I couldn't afford to castle up because Dwarves love just taking some things on one at a time, so I had to spread my army out, and that's what I did. But anyway, we have terrain to talk about, and the terrain is as follows. We have a hill here, so 1 hill on the left, 1 hill on the right, semi-relevant. Then we have the 2 forests, so these are the forests, nice kind of convenient flatty forests with shrubberies in them, so they're supposed to be height 9. There's an obstacle sticking out here, nice and long, another obstacle down over here. Notice that a lot of the terrain is definitely obvious what it is, like that's definitely an obstacle, but you won't have anything precariously balancing on top of it. So I'm actually, and I didn't really notice it at the time when I was playing, but looking at it now, I'm thinking, that's actually quite a smart idea, because it doesn't look tacky, it doesn't look lame, it looks like an obstacle, especially from above. It looks definitely like an obstacle, but you won't have anything teetering on top of it, especially when you start putting, say, water elementals and stuff on them. You don't want to be balancing that resin model there. Then we have some flat difficult terrain. So there's this pond over here, and then there's a little field here. And for blocking, house here, and a tower there. So it's this typical two of everything, spread them out nicely, make sure they're relevant, and that's what we got. I think we probably went straight from an epic dwarf map even. And so I did indeed deploy wide. So we've got a 𝓬𝓮𝓪𝓽 out there. I think, is that a 𝓬𝓬𝓮𝓪𝓽? Yeah, because I have 2 𝓬𝓬𝓮s, yes indeed. That's 𝓬𝓬𝓮s out here on the far left, and then we have 𝓬𝓮𝓪𝓽, water elemental. This is the 𝓬𝓻𝓮𝓪𝓽 with water elementals, help speed them up a bit. Then we have, these are 𝓬𝓻, which would be part of the formation, would they not? Yes. That's the only 𝓬 I've got. The 𝓬 formation, knight and snarers. Then we have behind them 𝓬𝓬𝓿𝓮. And then we have placoderms, gigas, 𝓬𝓮𝓪𝓿𝓮, coral giant, and further out the 𝓬𝓮. And I think my other 𝓬 must be off screen. Well, let's hope they come in because I should have deployed them. That'd be awkward. And then if we go over to James's army, we have the regiment of Ironclad, looking decidedly small compared to the others. Then we have a steel behemoth, and then right there is a dwarf lord and large beast. The Pokemon, because he's very fond of his 3D print Pokemon, which are painted very nicely, they are his hunting packs. We have 1 massive hunting pack, 2 massive hunting pack in front of one of the hordes of Ironclad, and then we have another steel behemoth, and I think this one might be Golok Fury. Oh, no, oh geez, now I can't remember. I really should have asked him. And then we have the 2 hordes of Ironclad right in front of each other, and I think I don't know if that's a good idea, or if that was going to be the case, maybe they should have been here so they could go straight into the dominate circle. Because out here, it's there. It seems like they're going to be held up, but that's how you deployed them. And I guess that's also the tricky part. When you start having 3 hordes of something, you really got to think about how you're going to put it down. Because I remember that against some Ratkin where there were lots of hordes of shock troops. Anyway, then there's the Stone Priest. There's another Dwarf Lord and Large Beast. Another Dwarf Lord and Large Beast. More Pokemon, being the massive hunting packs, and then finally 1 more Steel Behemoth. So yeah, I think the middle one is indeed Golok Fury, because that would make sense in terms of inspiring ranges and having the aura to affect as many of the Ironclad as possible, so that they yeah, because I think he has, it was Iron Resolve aura, I think. Yeah, let's just say yeah. So into the battle, turn 1. I get to go first. Yeah, there's the other 𝓬𝓻. See, I should have just stepped back more. That's a little bit cramped. Because, anyway, because we're gaming in Singapore. There's spaces at a premium. But it was a very, very nice shop. So here we are, top floor of this gaming store, and I have my army advancing on all sides. Notably, you'll notice that the 𝓬𝓮 turned in. So he's gone right up and turned to face in, just so things don't feel like I'm too fast ahead. But really the only things that have any speed is the Dwarf Lords and Large Beasts. Everything else is going to be decidedly slow. But yes, I've moved up pretty much everything, including the knight and snares. I wanted to get them right into terrain, right into the dominate circle, and I've cast bark skin on them. So that's what that little nut dice there for denotes, is that they now have bark skin. So, and this is the brand new dice, Hammer House dice, bought just for this game, because actually I was using some borrowed dice and they were dog shit. I was rolling terribly. I think even in Page Neo's battle report, he commented on just how badly I was rolling. It's just like, oh my god, like, it was just some simple things, and it'd just be like, you know what, it was supposed to do 8 damage, here's 3. That's just, everything wasn't working with that. So I decided, clearly, Hammer House wanted me to buy their dice, and I did, and then things started working for me. And so I assume these dice are legit. I did joke to Hammer House, and they smiled, and then they said, no, they're fine. I don't know if they meant like they're fine or they're fine, but anyway. Continuing with the battle, and now he's moving forward. So it's his turn, and we've got the whole army trying to keep in line and just putting those masters forward. So pretty simple. No crazy charges offered, but then I don't really have anything much fast over here. The gigas are slow. The placoderms are, they don't hit hard at all, and don't worry about knives at all. And a few bits of damage from the Steel Behemoths. I guess they didn't want to shoot at the Naiads, but I feel like they should have, because they could really put a number on them. They do have the regen, I suppose, but yeah, the bark skin wouldn't take long to get through. And turn 2. a blurry action shot where I didn't slow down to take a picture enough. I was feeling the pinch because my phone was starting to die, but this should have been a better picture than this. But you can see I'm starting to encircle my prey. So the Fool are coming around on the left. I'm bringing in all the water elementals. They're all angling, and angling because it's fishing, and I've got fish. And I've got my placoderms. The placoderms are just kind of runner up, you know. I didn't want to layer my army too much, so placoderms right here. Over here, still slightly blurry action shot. Also trying to encircle a bit, and yeah, there we go, clarity. And then we've got the 𝓬𝓮 coming around the back just to see the butt and flank of this steel behemoth. So it's just kind of starting to put the pressure on the different ways, in a way that only I can do in this particular matchup. I couldn't do this against Paige because he's way faster than me, so it's working here. So in response, James decides to project some threat, push out a little bit, and so he's going out in all directions. He's turning this way with his ironclad. He's got his steel behemoth there. Everything's kind of pushing up in terms of the mastiffs, followed by the dwarf lords and the large beasts. So I guess that's kind of the counterpunch in each case. So it's everything's moving up, and the slow ironclad, especially these guys, the ironclads that are going through terrain, they're not going anywhere soon. So it's all just kind of moving slowly through. But at least he's trying to make sure that no flanks are being offered. Okay, turn 3. So now it's legit. So I go in. I charge that, what I deem to be the weakest link, which is the Ironclad Regiment, definitely. And I don't hold back. I charge in with as much stuff as I can. I think what we'll see in here is the 𝓬𝓮𝓪𝓿𝓮, two water elementals, and the 𝓬𝓻. And it wouldn't work that 𝓬𝓮𝓪𝓿𝓮 was actually on a 50 mil, but he's not. The model is supposed to be on a 40, but it comes with this League of Infamy or Vanguard. Maybe it's a Vanguard. It comes with a Vanguard base that it's molded to, but it's actually the wrong size base. And then Mantic also includes an MDF base, but that's also the wrong size base because it's a large infantry, not monstrous infantry. So I think that should probably be addressed. But anyway, so when I read the rules, and I'm like, no, he should be able to fit in this. And then we found out, so we got a substitute base. So he fits. And for this is as much stuff as I can get in to make sure I really break it, because I really, really need to, so I can turn in and face. So that was my major push. These other 𝓬𝓻 went just into some massive hunting pack. It was also just to protect some flanks and just start chipping away. And then if the dwarf lord and large beast goes in, I don't really mind too much. And yeah, we'll just see how that goes. You got to throw some things in. On this side, I'm still being very wary, and you can see in the background the 𝓬𝓮 is definitely getting behind. Unsurprisingly, that amount of pressure was enough to do the job, so I managed to kill those guys, and I've turned a 𝓬𝓻 in. The water element is just facing forward. So this is a steel behemoth, and there's the 𝓬𝓮𝓪𝓿𝓮. I also obviously managed to kill a massive hunting pack, you'd hope so, with 𝓬𝓻, especially the formation 𝓬𝓻 with the 𝓬𝓻𝓮𝓪𝓿𝓮 right there, so that we're just sitting there, ready to take whatever comes our way. And then so, what happened here? Shoddy pictures, that's what happened here. I believe, yes, so he would have charged the 𝓬𝓻, yes. Yeah, totally missed it. Because I apologize. So yeah, these 𝓬𝓻 were definitely here, charged, and he didn't break them. And so I was expecting to just have to hit something in the front with these guys, but because he charged, it was a multi-charge here, heaps of damage. These guys just then walked backwards, and I just withdraw, and then the 3-inch move back. I could then charge in the flank of that steel behemoth with, you see it, we've got 𝓬𝓻, we've got 2 greater water elementals, and that's there's a thing over there, which is just one of the Squirtle multi-bases that were taken off. So I've got some Squirtles. At the same time, I also have these programs going into the Gollux Fury. The Gollux Fury went down, so you can see more damage went on there. And so we're just going to keep fighting the good fight there. We're both defense 6, but it's definitely got more power than I do. But it's hitting on 4, so it won't do all that much. And then over here, we're just, I did get charged by the massive hunting pack into the gigas. They managed to do a single damage, but my Depth Horror Eternal going in there, and as set up here, the 𝓬𝓮's managed to get into the rear, and I've got a front on this other Steel Behemoth with the Coral Giant, so it's getting sandwiched between two of the good units of the Trident Realms army. So yeah, we're definitely attacking from all sides, but the core of 𝓬𝓮 remain untouched. So here, damage, here, I'm taking pictures, dismal damage. Here, yeah, we did manage to kill it, so yes, one water elemental in the flank is kind of lame. It's only as good as a troll horde, but then two of them, that's two troll hordes, that's not bad. And then you have 𝓬𝓻 on top of that. Even if they've only got the thunderous one, it's still quite fantastic. So that made short work of that, and everything else is still kind of stuck. So we're still grinding here. So in James' turn, so what he manages to see is a flank on these placoderms with his ironclad horde. They will be hindered, but still, it's quite a lot of attacks going in there, and he saw that and wanted to free his Steel Behemoth so that it would cause a bit more chaos than it's currently doing, because it could be stuck for quite a while going into placoderms. And then at the same time, to protect these dwarves, he's gone in with the Dwarf Lord and Large Beast into the 𝓬𝓻𝓮. Not going to do much there, his crushing's kind of wasted. He's ensnared, so it's not going to be very effective. And the other one is the other Dwarf Lord and Large Beast is going into the 𝓬𝓻, which are already very heavily damaged, so he shouldn't take too long to get through that. And so obviously we haven't killed much here, and so let's see where the rest of the armies go. So these 𝓬𝓮 are just trying to get disentangled. One 𝓬𝓮 coming towards the Gigas, the other 𝓬𝓮 are just kind of in the middle, so it's plenty of unit strength. It's a lot. He's got like 12 right now in the Dominate circles, 𝓬𝓮 alone. And then he's also got 1, 2, and 3 in terms of his smaller units. So that's a lot to deal with, and I'm still on the outside of it mostly, apart from my placoderms and ensnare horde. And so now the placoderms are gone, he managed to kill them with that flank added with the Steel Behemoth, Golluck's Fury, I might add. And so that's all turned. He has these guys have turned, so they're facing this way towards the rest of the army there. And so I don't think I can see them with my ensnarers because they're in combat with the Dwarf Lord and Large Beast. But yeah, they have a lot of stuff that could potentially come into their front. Steel Behemoth, the Golluck's Fury, is facing the Gigas because it knows it can actually might crack them. So that's the situation there. And we've got the double charge actually into my giants doing some damage there. But it is the Coral Giant. It is superior to all other giants because it has ensnare. So it's a very solid thing and hard to take down. And there you go. So the Dwarf Lord and Large Beast did 1 damage in total to the Naiad Ensnarers. The 𝓬𝓻 are on 10 damage now, and they still hold. So that is turn 5 now. And so, in response, I've decided to move these 𝓬𝓻 away so they're not going to keep getting hit. Yeah, because right now, I think the way they were, the placoderms couldn't get into the flank. I don't know why I was really keen on getting placoderms into the flank, but, sometimes you get these silly ideas. And there's a Depth Horror Eternal into the rear of the Dwarf Lord and Large Beast. In the middle with this ironclad horde that was facing it towards the water elementals. Well, now it's got them. It's got 2 water elementals, a 𝓬𝓻 regiment, and the 𝓬𝓻. So that's all going into those untouched. They're not damaged yet, ironclad. The other ironclad are being charged by the Gigas. Because I was looking I can try and start chipping away at the Golluck's Fury, or I can take on the unit strength. And so because the unit strength flanked with the Depth Horror Eternal, going in the front with the Gigas, I'm definitely not going to get through it, and I'm going to get flanked by Golluck's Fury. But this is just the situation that I was in, because the other way around, I get flanked by these chaps. Because unfortunately, where my Depth Horror was placed, if it was in a situation where the Depth Horror was actually instead in the front and could actually stop this horde, then sure, I'll probably send the Gigas into Golluck's Fury to chip away at it. But in this situation, it wasn't working out. And over here, I'm still going into the Steel Behemoth with my Coral Giant and the 𝓬𝓮, so they're just going to keep trying to grind it down to dust. They did 6 damage before, which was pitiful. Can they do more? I should bloody well hope so. And we do take out the horde of ironclad with water elementals. Go water elementals! They're doing very good this game. Fantastic. It's good because I own 2 of them, so I'm glad. And then over there, we only did 6 damage, which is to be expected. This is Defense 6 Dwarf Lord large beast. So yeah, even a rear charge from a depth horror tunnel still only 15 attacks with crushing 2. It's not actually that much, but you know, we got to start somewhere. Over here, it was a Snake Eyes. I showed the dice just to show that this thing must be on crazy level amounts of damage, and yet a roll Snake Eyes. So that will stay there. Wonderful. Here, well, we did 8 damage, which is not inconsiderable, but it's unfortunately definitely not enough. And so yeah, we've got a flank charge here. It's gone actually now in his turn. So flank charge from 𝓬𝓮𝓪𝓿𝓮 Fury. So say goodbye to those gigas, and the flank charge into the Depth Horror Eternal. But the Depth Horror Eternal hasn't snared, so at least he's got that going for him. The other fights include here, we have the 𝓬𝓻 getting taken on by the second Ironclad Horde that was just sitting there, so that's going on. We'll see how they go, they're hit and ensnared. So there's a lot of terrain right in this middle of this battlefield, which I don't think James is enjoying particularly much, especially with the ensnare added on top. It's kind of like Trident Realm's favorite situation. And the Dwarf Lord and Large Beast is going, I'm going to kill these 𝓬𝓻, so he's going into the 𝓬𝓻 once again. So both the 𝓬𝓻 are the targets in this one. And yeah, we've got this Dwarf Lord and Large Beast. He's only had 2 damage put on him because it's ensnarers, so they're not actually going to do much. But he's going to continue trying to chip away. You can see that the 1 damage they did have, they've already regenerated away. So the ensnarers are doing exactly as advertised. You stick them in terrain, and they do stick around. So I was getting a little bit impressed. I was like, oh, okay, not bad. So 7 damage was done in total to the Depth Horror Eternal, and you can see these guys were definitely hindered and ensnared. Oh, I wouldn't have been hindered because they're counter-charging, but yeah, not much damage at all, so not enough normally to take out the Depth Horror Eternal. The Giant, on the other hand, did die, so I could not kill this thing fast enough, and so he died to the Steel Behemoth and the Dwarf Lord and Large Beast. 13 damage. I did whopping 16 damage to this thing, and it's still stuck around, as you saw, with the double ones, and so now I'm paying the price. It's going into the 𝓬𝓮. It's not even devastated yet, and so the 𝓬𝓮's going to have to try and take it out from the front. I really only need 1 damage and just hopefully kill it, but yes, yeah, hopefully. Jeez. And then over here, we have the 𝓬𝓻 finally perished from the Dwarf Lord and Large Beast, so yeah, he's definitely taking down some stuff. More damage this time, 5. He rolled real hot on my Knight Ensnarers, but they're fine. Don't worry about it. And these guys, 2 damage. A whole horde, 25 attacks, but when hindered and ensnared, it ended up just being the 2. So the 𝓬𝓻 disordered, so I guess that's still worthwhile, but we still have all these water elementals ready to go in. And it's turn 6. And go in they do. 1 flank, 1 front. We talked about these water elementals. They're not terrifying, but yeah, when you got 2, I think this is how I might do it. 2 together, it's not bad. It's actually not bad. It's a lot of points though, but it's also really hard to take out, so you know, I might do it. So yeah, they're going in. 𝓬𝓻 is still alright, they're going in, and we've got my 𝓬𝓻𝓮𝓪𝓿𝓮 on the side with his host Shadow Beast. And yeah, guess what? When it was only 5 damage done on the gigas from that 𝓬𝓮𝓪𝓿𝓮 Fury, I get to flank charge into these poor, hapless Ironclad. So Ironclad here are not having a great time. They just didn't kill that Depth Horror Eternal in time to face. The only thing that did have a good time were these guys over here, Steel Behemoth and Dwarf Lord and Large Beast. They've taken down the Coral Giant, so yeah. And then this Dwarf Lord is now facing front, and it's turned out now I have to charge in the front with Placoderms and Depth Horror Eternal, so that's definitely not going to really equate to anything useful. Or will it? Oh, I totally forgot that. Must have rolled something stupid. So yeah, they managed to kill it. I mean, it has 6 damage on it, a little bit more, but still, it has a very high nerve. It has like a regiment-sized nerve, but there you go. Took them down in the front. Who needs to do rear charges? So that's Dwarf Lord and Large Beast gone. Yeah, another picture. I was just so astounded. And here we're regenning like crazy, and obviously the gigas in the flank is pretty nasty. They're actually a very powerful unit. In fact, yeah, everyone looks at their 12 attacks and writes them off, but yeah, by having the hitting on 3s and vicious crushing 2 is actually really, really good. And unlike the Depth Horrors, they're very defensive, so they can really stick around and just keep chopping. So yeah, fantastic. So they've taken down those Ironclad, and so what about the last Ironclad? Can they hold up? That looks like a considerable 15 damage on there, but I think they continue, and that's the end. What? yeah, I obviously didn't take the very final picker, but this was, if it's end of turn 6, end of turn 6. And so, putting them up on that much damage. All we have left are this is Golluck's Fury, this is Dwarf Lord and Large Beast. The Knuck is very proud of himself. He finished off that last Steel Behemoth. So we have 1, and then 5, and then 6 unit strength left. And I still have my Horde, a regiment, and a few other small things. Oh, and the regiment of Fools. So at this point, it was my game. I managed to win against a whole lot of Defense 5 and 6, and a very gracious James. And it was a great game. It was really, really fun. Both of them were, in fact. Even getting smashed by Order of the Green Lady, it still made me think a lot, and so that's what I took into this game. And unfortunately, James had to then take the lessons I learned applied to him, which, I guess he probably wouldn't have completely loved, but that's how it went. So, yeah, Trident Realms are a really cool army. I've actually got a lot more Trident Realms models now, and I'm going to start. They're all painted. I managed to acquire them from Mike Crossman, so I will paint them up a little bit differently, like just touch them up so they all come a bit more cohesive with the stuff I already have, base them more cohesively, so it looks like a decent army, and that'll be something I'll be more inspired to do as we go into the new year with the new updates for Trident Realms. There'll be some new kits as well, definitely Dam Busters. So I'm really glad I never tried to attempt getting enough of the Dam Buster Vanguard hero to make a Dam Buster Horde. I'm glad I'm waiting so that I can get the plastic ones, because I will get the plastic ones. And if there's plastic River Guard, that's cool too. I don't mind. I actually have quite a lot of the Metal Grit River Guard, so I don't really need more, but I guess with a box or two more, I can, who knows, I could run a full frog army. It would be crazy. And that might not be good, who knows. I don't know if it'll be good, but it might be. So yeah, definitely looking forward to the frogs. But yeah, so it was a good game. And then afterward, we went out for dinner. It's my first night in Singapore. I had no idea where to go. My hotel is in a rather expensive part of the town, and so all the meals there, I just thought that was normal. I just thought, everyone says the cost of living Singapore is quite expensive, and I just thought that was for food as well. And so, I paid quite a lot for just normal average food. But then, with the help of Paige first, we went and got some wonderful, just really good pork earlier in the day for lunch, and then afterwards with James and another guy who was watching both the games, Roderick, we went out for a meal, and that was fantastic. It was at this, just a bizarre kind of place where, bazaar, not bizarre, where it's just all these stalls and everything's just under $10. It's fantastic, and they're very generous, and they just bought. I wanted to get some really nice noodle soup, and it was fantastic with just chicken and all kinds of good stuff. And it was I've come to think of Singapore as my next holiday destination, purely because it has the perfect combination of being a really nice tidy city. It's an Asian city, so you can get all the wonderful food that comes with that, but while I go to China actually quite regularly, I can't really eat the street food there because it will make me terribly sick. I might be able to at some point if I stay there for long enough and my gut microbiota are acclimated to it, but unfortunately I'm never usually there for more than a few weeks, and we don't want to waste a few days of a few weeks on the idea that maybe I can eat street food. So I never really try much ever since my first food poisoning in China that happened almost 10 years ago. So yeah, in Singapore on the other hand, you can eat anything and everything's very clean and fantastically priced, especially when I go to those kinds of places with the guidance of James and Roderick and Paige, and yeah, it was just very, very tasty. It's definitely a place that I want to go. I'll be taking Florina because she too now can't eat street food in China. It's too used to the cleanliness of the Western world. At least when it comes to foods, her robust stomach, where she could just buy anything in any stall in China, has been lost. But now we can go to Singapore and at least enjoy it there. So and also there's all the cool stuff like the gardens and stuff. So it was for a work event, and it was over my birthday as well. So the conference itself was on my birthday, and I was thinking, conferences are great. I like science. That's why I'm a scientist. But it's when it's on your birthday, just like I'm going to be missing out on just nice birthday stuff. But this definitely made up for it because, being able to play 2 games overseas, like a really cool city, and enjoying fantastic Asian food. It's pretty much ticking all the boxes. The only downside was Florina wasn't there, but she wouldn't want to be there waiting for me to play games anyway. So it probably worked out best this way. It was good. So this is not my Trident Realms army, so I can't really say on what I'll add to this particular one, but it is very similar to what I want to run. I have an unpainted Greater Water Elemental. I have one painted, so I will be able to run the 2, and I do like the idea of the 2 tag teaming and taking up lots of board space because they're reasonably fast. It somewhat reminds me of a previous opponent of mine. He runs Undead, and he would like to run 2 Great Burrowing Worms for the Undead, and that they always did a very good job being a team together. They're superior though because they're heroes, so they can actually take items, and I feel like that's probably one of the things holding back also the Greater Water Elementals. You can't take items on it. You can't take items on any of the Greater Elementals, and that's fair enough. They're not heroes, and some of them would get broken if you could. But I feel it just makes it a bit harder to use them compared to, say, the Great Burrowing Worm, which you can take items on. So, but irrespective of that, they still work quite well, and so I will try and see which lists they can fit into. Won't always be all the lists, but they're still reasonably cheap for the brick that they represent, and they're still a threat you can't completely ignore. So, the Trident Realms are a fun army, and they can be frustrating because when you lose, you can lose really hard. But when you win, they're not big wins, but they're still very satisfying wins because you feel like you've been rather tactical. And so I think I pushed in the right places at the right time against James and managed to turn my one flank in and pressure on the other side, so it felt like he was getting attacked on all sides, and that's how it should be. And don't castle up like an idiot when I did with my Undead. So anyway, apologies for this battle report coming so late. I was trying to get through all the convict reports, and then, here I am at another conference, actually. I'm in Brisbane on conference just briefly, and I have a nice evening here, and I thought, why not finally get this report done? So, probably not another battle report in too much time, but I do plan on making some other content, so look out for that. I think I said that last time, a month ago, but no one complained, at least. So here's some more battle reports for you now, and more stuff coming later when I have some time. It's the silly season after all. So until then, keep safe and keep caffeinated.